Hello, today I am going to be talking about Culture Hustle's The Blackest Black. It is a super black matte paint that I ordered from their website, and it got shipped to me through the Royal Mail. And as you can see here, I got 2 different bottles shipped to me, and I left one of them in the packaging that they had done in the shipment, and they did it through a bubble mailer. And they actually folded the bubble mailer in half and sealed it so that the bottles weren't kind of knocking around, but both of them came wrapped in bubble wrap, and they came fine. There wasn't any like paint explosion that unfortunately happened during transit, so I was really happy with that. Now, one thing that I was really interested about when I was reading up on this paint is they said that, you know, you could add water to it and it would kind of give it more of an ink wash effect. I was really curious to see if doing this, would it keep that super matte black quality, or would it look more like an ink wash? The other thing that I'm doing here is I'm testing to see how it's going to react on Copics, because the image that I want to use this on is a Copic piece, and I wanted to make sure before I went ahead and just started adding this medium onto my piece that it was going to work out the way I wanted it to. So as you see here, it does behave more like an ink wash, and because I am kind of in a time crunch, I did not do as much testing as I would have liked to with this medium. I do plan on going in and doing a bit more, and I also did a really large swatch of just the straight up black, which is what I was pointing there on that image previously. But that said, I do want to go back in and see how does it mix with other colors, you know, how, if I layer a bunch of ink washes, can I eventually get that matte black effect back again? But I also knew after doing some testing on that on that piece of paper is that I am not working on watercolor paper, so I don't want to be using ink wash on this multimedia. It's already fairly saturated with Copic, so I really just wanted the paint to be able to sit on top, and I personally feel like that worked out the best. So this image, I had the idea to do this piece around a year ago, because it was around my con prep for last Denver Comic Con that I was kind of looking around at just some unique, you know, series ideas that I could do. One of them being some nymphs from the underworld, and I am going to put the link to this nymph's description down below, but she is the nymph of the darkness of the River Styx, and I believe her name is Orphine. I probably mispronounced that, I apologize, but again, like I said, I will put a link down to that, the article that I used to base this image off of down below. What I thought was really engaging about her description, though, was that she was strictly the nymph of the darkness of the River Styx, and I saw that where she wasn't necessarily the waters herself, but she was kind of the shadow of the water. So I knew when I was working on this image, I wanted it to be a very kind of heavy, very dark, but like playful piece, because I don't necessarily see the River Styx as a bad thing, or, you know, a nymph as, I also always associate nymphs to be more playful, I guess. So I kind of wanted to have her be more this mysterious, kind of like playful character, but just to also have her seem really oppressive at the same time. So when I was kind of coming up with the different iterations of this, I was trying to figure out what medium would best get that point across. And I had tried things such as, you know, I originally did the entire piece in Copic. I then tried doing it in digital. I tried adding a black embossing liquid on the top for both her hair and her dress with one of the, you know, tests that I did for this. And while that looked really neat, it ended up being super glossy, but I had such a hard time dealing with that, or just dealing with the medium of that embossing medium, that it really kind of took away from the piece. And I kind of put it on the shelf for a bit and wanted to think it out and see if I could find a better fit for a medium for this image. And then I'm not sure if other people heard, but there was some drama about one artist, you know, buying the rights to a certain color and another artist saying, hey, that's not cool, I'm just gonna make it and we'll have a better formula and it'll be cheaper, and then they did it and ergo this exists. If you haven't read up on that, it's an interesting read, you know, definitely some art drama, and I'll put a link to one of those articles down below. But at the end of the day, once I realized what the Blackest Black was, I went, I need this. I need this for my piece, and I need it now. And spoiler, I am so happy with how this came out. This definitely was the right medium to get for the emotions I wanted to evoke with this piece, and I am so glad that I waited because I feel like this does my initial image justice. Now, to get to the actual critique. So the consistency of the paint is, as they say, it's an acrylic paint, so it is very, it's thick. So it's kind of like manipulating a pudding, which got a little frustrating because I couldn't really thin it down to get it to do more detailed work. And like I said, based on how thin this paper was, I just wanted to do a straight application of the paint onto that because I didn't want to saturate the paper any more than I already had. So that was a little frustrating. I was using a size 0 brush to apply this paint, and you know, it was very slow going, but I was super pleased with how the paint went on. It was essentially a one coat application. I did not have to go over, I didn't have to hide any brush strokes. All of my brush strokes essentially disappeared once the paint dried, it's fantastic. I also am really impressed with just straight out of the tube. I didn't mix the paint. I literally just opened up the tube, poured some out, and started applying after doing some of my tests to make sure that this was going to work out the way that I wanted it to. The other really surprising thing, based on just how much area I covered, and I know it doesn't really look that big, but I'm surprised with how little paint it took. I didn't, like I said, it basically went on in one coat, so I didn't have to double or triple coat this. Super black, super thick, super rich, just right out the tube. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I was blown away with just how good the quality of the paint was, just like right out the bat. So that honestly made me a lot happier with just, you know, even though I had to go slower and kind of be more careful and pay attention to tinier details and just, you know, not lose my mind and pull my hair out, which is why I took a few breaks here and there, because I didn't want to, you know, rush the piece, as this is essentially the finishing stage for this image and I didn't want to ruin it. But like I said, I was surprised with how little it seemed to use. Now, I have 2 bottles in this because I just wasn't sure how much I was going to need. I wasn't sure, you know, if there was going to be an incident with 1 bottle. I figured if I had ordered 2, then if something catastrophic happened with 1, I at least had a backup, hopefully, fingers crossed. But I am pleased to say that that didn't happen, so thank you. And now I have an extra bottle of the Blackest Black to play with. And I don't show it in this recording, but I do end up going forward and doing her hair. I will actually show you the framed piece because this image is now done and will be for sale at Denver Comic Con that I'm tabling at. Yay! So that said, I would recommend checking this out at least. If there's a project that you think that this would be good for, you know, maybe check some local art stores so that way you don't have to get it shipped from their website or from their facility, which is located in Great Britain, I believe. And if there's something that I might not have covered in this review, I realized that I didn't mix it with a different acrylic. I didn't do anything else like that. Just go ahead and leave a comment down below. I am interested to kind of push this paint a little bit more and see what else it can and can't do. But I just wanted to let you know this paint is fantastic. For the one little thing or the one little gripe that I have, super pleased with just the final effect on how everything came out. So, with that said, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video today. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel for more content in the future, and go make something.